So like one of the things I recognize with men and like what I see in the culture is that men are bombarded with sexual imagery. Yet at the same time, they're told they can't look. Like, how dare you look at me with this floss up my butt crack and my camel toe sticking out? Well, man, like, your breasts are half out. I see your areola popping.
Yeah.
So what am I like? Okay, you want me to look at the ceiling? Like, so I think that itself, I think is important for men, like especially with what society's doing right now, like women's empowerment and things like that, and men getting outed for like even looking at women or approaching women. I think it's important to like know how to harness your sexual energy. Listen, today's topic.
Well, this is up your alley, man. Doing all the men's group. I was thinking about you when I was doing it. I was like, man, you must have talked about this. How many? Like at least 1,000 times.
Bruh.
Giving lectures, seminars. I know you do support groups. I know this is right up your alley. This is good stuff.
It's good stuff, man.
Men need to hear this.
Yeah, we need to talk about it, man. Shit. And Brian, what is it that we need to talk about?
We need to talk about men's health. I think that's super important. I see it all the time. Like Paul and I training, like, man, we must have trained like 50 years combined. And it is like a unicorn when you have a male client that doesn't have these issues.
Bruh.
You're training a unicorn. It doesn't exist. Every single man out there has some kind of issue going on with their health.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a broad statement, but as we dig into it, you'll see more. You'll understand more.
Yeah, man. And we got videos that we're going to be putting out about men's health and specific aspects of men's health that are extremely relevant. So if this is the first time that you're here, welcome to the More Than Black or White Health Podcast. This podcast, and if you're returning, bless up to you for supporting the crew. You know you so fresh. Bless up to you for supporting and welcome back. This podcast is to support you in being an advocate for your own health and being, whether that's career, social, relationship, nutritional well-being. Listen, Brian and I, we cover a whole lot of topics. Check the catalog. So
almost coming on 100, huh? 100
coming
episodes.
up on 100, man. Woo. Bruh.
Putting that work in. It's fun though. We have a good time doing it.
It is, man.
It's not work. It's fun.
It really is, man. Like, because I tell you, we're gonna have a part about men's emotional health. When I got on this podcast today to record, Captain Huff and Puff, Cranky Paul,
Cranky Paul.
B, you saw me?
Oh yeah. I was like, you got some going on today, man.
What?
Before you even said anything, I knew what it was about. So that's another topic.
Yeah. Oh, what's our topic today? yeah. Our topic today is men's sexual health. Okay. This is where men listen. This conversation is not going to be about. It's going to be free of some bravado, foolishness. This is going to be about real conversation about what's happening with men's sexual health. Because there's some stuff going on, B, that men usually do not talk about and want to cover up. And you know what? That makes it worse. And even and from what we've done when we've had conversations, both you and I in the podcast and also with some guests, if something's going on sexually with your health for men, there's a bigger issue at play.
Sure.
A bigger issue, B. Shoot. B, did you have some stats on this, bro? Oh, but
yeah, I mean, I always go back to this one statistic that we used in past episodes.
Yeah.
And I've used it for a long time. So 40% of men at the age of 40 have some kind of erectile dysfunction. Every year it goes up 1%. So basically, by the time you're 70% of men have ED. And we talked about stuff with the heart and everything like that. And usually the first place things go as far as blood flow is in the reproductive area, right? So if you don't have enough blood flow going on or enough oxygen going through the body, your body thinks it's dying, and the last thing you want to do is reproduce. So your penis or your junk, whatever you want to call it, that gets shut off first. So but the problem is you lack blood flow in one area, you lack blood flow everywhere, right? Brain, and usually what's dangerous about this too, and we'll kind of keep going to other things. What's dangerous about this too is like, when you have ED, that's usually one of the first signs for something serious going on with your heart. Early, it's a clear sign that has a direct correlation with Alzheimer's, dementia, anything that has any kind of neurological issue too. Again, because you're lacking blood flow down there, you're lacking blood flow up here. Super important. Super, super important. It's not just, I'm just not in the mood today. It's limp. It's a big issue.
Big issue, man. And I think that's why this topic is so important, because men, there's a conditioning around men's performance, right? I mean, brother, there's products around it for like, hey, how do you get girls? Hey, you gotta lift weights, you gotta smell good, you gotta be this, you gotta be that. And the thing is that a lot of these things that are put out here for men to smell good and get women could be contributing to the reason that you're going limp.
Absolutely.
Could be contributing to it, bro. Yeah. So this topic, listen, and guys, I mean, I think, well, I'm speaking for myself. I like sex. So there's certain things that for me, I know I get to take care of for myself to make sure that I'm functioning properly. And it's more than just, hey, I want to be Captain Performance. It's more of like, hey, this is for my health and well-being, man. Like, if things go right down there, things are usually right some other places too. So B and I are going to get into that a little bit today too, bro. Yep. B, anything from like, bro, just to get set up for a second. Men's sexual health is, you and I talked about it briefly before in our pregame about like, me doing these circles and whatnot. Like having space for men to really talk about sexual health. And I'm curious for you, just so my understanding, like, when did you start to learn about sex, like men, like real men's sexual health and whatever that means to you?
Well, when I think of that, I always thought of, I mean, my education growing up always was taking courses from people like, Charles Poliquin. He got me into, he's like, with your like libido and everything like that, with your circadian rhythm. Mm-hmm. And he told me from day one, I mean, he's like, he always uses this funny analogy that I use. He goes, if between the hours of 5 a.m. to 7 a.m., he's like, if you can't do a handstand and pee right into the toilet, you have low. That always stuck with me. if you're peeing on yourself, you got some issues going on there. You better pee right in that toilet. So I'll leave you guys with that image of, don't try this at home kind of thing. But that always stuck with me too. And he's like, it goes much deeper than just performance. You need to check your testosterone. Then once I started learning about, like, we'll kind of get into it, but like once I started learning about, like, testosterone's a key player, it goes into a lot of other things. It goes into adrenals, it goes into thyroid, it goes into neurotransmitters. Everything is connected. And the problem is, most people, when they do go seek help to a medical professional, what do? They'll either give them, like, maybe if they're lucky, they'll give them some kind of testosterone, but they don't know how to check it. They don't know how to read blood panels. Doctors don't know how to read blood panels. Correct. They try to put you in a normal range, not an optimal range. That's another topic. If you guys have questions about that, just drop in the comments and I can put you with the right people. But they just check your testosterone levels, or they're like, oh, take this pill, or let's do this, or they don't really understand how to treat it. And they don't understand that the body is this whole beautiful symbiotic organism. We compartmentalize everything in the medical field. Everything is a different thing, but everything works together.
Brother,
I know I said a lot there. I don't even know if I answered your question.
Well, yeah, probably not, but I'll make do. No.
It's my ADD kicking in.
Well, from what I asked you is like, when you what I'm hearing you say is, when you really learned about men, like authentic men's sexual health, when Charles Poliquin was saying, like, listen, there's a certain amount of libido and testosterone that men are supposed to have. And it's if certain things are off, what I'm hearing you say is like you when you really learned about what men's sexual health can be, you understood that there's a bigger picture there. Like it's a part, like for dysfunction one place plays a role in dysfunction somewhere else that's more important, that's more vital actually. That's what I'm hearing though.
Yeah, and it taught me to be very in tune with my body. I took a lot of holistic courses in my life and just did a lot of meditation, so I'm more in tune with my body. And I'm 46. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't wake up every morning and being like, boom, like, but if it's like it goes like a day or two more, like I'm like, all right, maybe what am I doing with my diet? Am I too stressed out? Hey, let me, I'm not going to lift weights today. I'm going to do like yoga. I'm going to do like some meditation, but I'll never go more than like 2 or 3 days without waking up in the morning and just being like having a wreck. Because so like I'm in tune with my body, and I know those are early warning signs if it keeps going on.
Yeah.
And I need to work on that. All right, how do I build my testosterone? Let's eat some cleaner food, or maybe I drank too much like over the weekend or whatever it is, or I'm just stressed out. So I know how to like fine tune myself to get back to normal pretty quickly.
Yeah. I think that's a big part of sexual health as well, being in tune with the body. And I think like when we're talking about the understanding of it, the reason why I asked Brian that is something for those that are watching this. For the men, I want to challenge you is like to when did you learn specifically about men, your version of men's sexual health? Like, what does that mean to you? Like, let's get clear and define that, because this is more than going to having sex, man. Like, this is about yes, blood flow going to your sex energy center, but really it's like sexual health is also about creation. Right. So there's a part of all this that when we're talking about this, there's like a mind body connection of that physical, the emotional, like the stress and things like this, but also the hormonal, right? And also the relational. So there's a lot of things. And even you mentioned like men getting testosterone. There's a role in men's sexual health that stress plays, that testosterone plays. Hey, age plays too. Like, I was talking to I was talking to a friend of mine about what we're talking about today. I said, man, listen, as I get older, I'm getting more comfortable. Like, hey, if it doesn't work and as well as it used to, I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I'm good with that. But like, if I can't get that junk up, I'm like, yo, there's a problem.
Yeah.
Because I still want to be able to get my stuff up when I'm 108, bro. Shit. But like, listen, so now that we have an understanding of like men's sexual health, like I guess what I'm calling for is a reframing of what this is. Right? Because there's a lot of things that are out here that are contributing to poor men's sexual health. I mean, look at the reproductive rates are down in the gutter. Like people aren't having sex. Men are lonely. Women are like, I'm not dating. So I don't know who's getting touches. Only like small percentage of cat are getting touches. So for the rest of the people out here, like whatever you're doing, let's start to look at some of the common challenges that come up with men's sexual health. So let's go over some of the common ones. Brian mentioned it before: erectile dysfunction. Right?
Yeah.
That's a problem. And Brian, you had to like,
like I think a big like a common challenge is, there's a lot of studies out there that show at least, I mean, I'm going to give you like be conservative, say at least 30% of all men will have some kind of like low libido at some point in their life, right? 30% of men will experience some kind of like low libido under the age of 30. I'm sorry, under the age of 30, of course, over 30. But so there's a high probability, even like young men. This is not just somebody that has low libido in their 50s and 60s and 70s. These are young men. Like I remember having conversations back when I was in my 20s, and a couple of friends of mine, like in their mid 20s, like, hey, you ever been like ED problems, or I take Viagra every once in a while. I'm like, dude, man, you're 24 and you need that stuff. Like I wasn't really like, I was in the health. I was a trainer, but at the time I didn't really understand like hormones and everything like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, about 30% of people under the age of 30 will have some kind of libido issue, and that can create a lot of issues, man, like a mental health issues. I mean, the bad news is like that silence. Men don't, like you said before, that men don't like to talk about it, and that silence comes at a cost.
Yup.
You know, avoiding these conversations can lead to increased anxiety, strained relationships, you know, with your significant other, and it leaves you with like almost like a deep sense of isolation. The good news is, like, when men begin to openly talk about like ED and their sexual health struggles, it not only reduces shame, it builds confidence and strengthens the emotional connections with their partners and with their inner circle too. Because if you can talk about that and you can be vulnerable about that, I don't think really you can be vulnerable about more about anything else. Because sex is like, you know, that's very personal to yourself.
Yes.
It's very personal to yourself, but it's a very personal thing. So it trains you to be open-minded. Like, it gives you confidence, gives you a way to talk about it. And you're going to realize when you do talk about it, a lot of people have this issue.
Yeah,
and
man.
you're just brave enough to you'll be like the pioneer out of your group of friends. Because again, eventually they're all going to have it at one point. Most of it, I would say, majority of people will have it at one point. And they might come to you and talk. They might need you to come talk to you.
Yeah, listen, I brother, thank you for that, man, because I think that's important that men understand that, because that decreases sexual in sexual desire or sexual activity. Like you said something, it leads to some different psychological types of issues, man. It's like there's a sense of loneliness and also disconnection. But like, I appreciate what you said as far as there's also something bigger there. So for example, like, listen, this is basically like a low libido, low sex drives, decrease in a person's desire for sexual activity. So right off the bat, let's address what's the decrease. Where is your attention going now? Okay, well, my attention is going here in stress. And that's why I appreciate what you were talking about being able to even talk about it and be the pioneer in your group. It's so important that we start talking about this stuff, man, because again, a lot of people are experiencing it, but also it's an opportunity to let out some of the stress that may be effing up your low libido.
Yeah.
Jacking up your hormones. Having you lose sleep and get all stressed out, having you eat up all the fast food and soda drinks, light and sweet sugar and coffees and things like this. These are all when we you about to go in? Go ahead, man.
Yeah, man. You brought up a good point before. You always bring up good points, but
Thanks.
you brought up a point that it really it struck something to me. You said a men's sexual health is tied to creativity.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I believe that's so much. Like, when you have, it's very yang, right? It's yang energy, and yang is creation.
Yes.
So a lot of men out there, you're basically trying to if you're like a lot of men out there, right? I see a lot, they work hard, they try to make money. Mm-hmm. A lot of men, they want to be entrepreneurs, they want to make extra side money. If you have low libido, if you have low sexual health, you can't be creative to your potential. No. It's like you're running a race on one leg, uphill in the snow. It's yeah.
You throw all the legs out, you're like, one hill, one fit.
But you can't be creative. You can't think outside the box. You can't. You lack a little IQ. You lack a little common sense. And I'm not saying. I mean, this is proven. People that have lower testosterone, poor sexual function or sexual health, they have lower IQ. They can't think as quickly. It's their creativity like almost diminishes. Their men become very yin. Their yang energy becomes very yin. Yes. And I don't know if this is correct, but I can see why you look at a lot of men nowadays, they're very feminine. Yeah. And I'm not talking like, listen, like if I don't think as gay as feminine. I know a lot of masculine gay men. Yeah. I just feel like they're very just like feminine, very like passive. That's what I mean by like they're just quality. They're very passive. They're just quiet. They're isolated. They're just like like I don't even know if it has a verb, but but you know what I mean? Like just like
Yeah.
I mean, you see it with men's groups all the time. They're just very like feminine qualities they have,
Bruh,
feminine characteristics.
it's well, and like to put one specifically, the indecisiveness.
Yes, that's it.
Indecisiveness, bruh. Like I'm
Because of
like,
fear of failure, right? Because of
it's a
fear of
fear.
failure. When you
But
have a lot of teeth, you just go like you go for it. You don't worry about failing. You just go. You go. You go.
brother, let me tell you, that's one of the reasons I love going to a museum. Because I'll look at a painting, I'm like, they went for it. They
Yeah, they
did
didn't
that.
hold back.
Didn't hold back. They don't care. It's an expression.
Yeah.
That's the creator, man. That's the creator. Think about that. Like the creator. And that's why I tell when I'm in groups, and especially when I'm talking to these young dudes, I'm getting them to understand like the potency of what's happening in their testes. If you
Mm-hmm.
think about this, you got millions of sperm that are constantly being produced compared to the woman that has a limited amount of eggs.
Mm-hmm.
Now, every time you blast off, like whether you're pumping out some knuckle children or you're actually in the sexual act, there are millions of these sperm that are fighting. They're fighting to get to the goal. And then once they get there, some of them don't make it. Even when
Nope.
they get there, they got to burrow in. They got to burrow in. Dude, and that's the point about being a creator. There's a times when you got to go for it. You just got to do it. And this is what I see with men right now. There's an indecisiveness. And I know what that's like because that was me, because I never wanted to make a mistake. And then it was like, okay, look, I got to go for it, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay, I'll clean it up later. Or like, you know what, it's not going to be perfect. And that's okay. But this is where I think it's like there's a passivity. We're going to talk about this in the next episode when we talk about boys to men. There's this passivity because we're raised like, oh, well, we dampen the passion that sometimes is seen as aggression. We speak in the culture and communities, dampen that piece. And now it's like that fire that they had, you keep putting on so much water on that bee, eventually the fire's gonna be like, yo, I ain't giving you nothing, man.
Yeah. I'm done.
I'm done. Peace. Let's go pick some petunias. You know what I mean? Like, bro, so it's and this is why I like to talk about the creator. And this is also you bringing up one of a fan that both of us adore, or someone we both adore, Napoleon Hill. Sex mutation, man.
Yeah.
The greatest energy is sex energy.
This brings me back to that topic we have with Francis, where we're talking about the Hermetic principles. And I still find this so fascinating. And I think the last Hermetic principle is the law of gender, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
you have the conscious, and then you have the subconscious, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the subconscious is very feminine.
Yep.
The conscious is very male. So if you give me an example, like all thoughts create things. So when you're trying to visualize, I do this every morning. If everybody's ever watched this episode, then I always talk about visualization and feeling it. You have to use that male energy. You have to feel it. You have to push it. You have to use some, I don't know the word maybe off the top of my head, but you have to use this energy to kind of force it into the subconscious. And by forcing the subconscious forcing the conscious into the subconscious, that's how you create things in your reality. And if you're very like, oh yeah, I wish this would happen. Oh, this is great. Oh, maybe one day it'll happen. I don't know if it does, but if it does, that's not male energy. That's feminine on feminine. You can't create anything putting feminine energy into feminine energy. You need that male. You need that drive. You need to hammer it home. Like, this is it. I'm getting there. I'm doing it. And the universe takes it and it impregnates your life in front of you.
Brother, we can wrap the episode up right now. You just brought what this is all about. Yeah, he's like, all right, we're out. Thanks, everybody. Peace. Brother, this is what this is all about, man. Men's sex energy is life energy, bro.
Yeah.
If we are failing to be vibrant, and this is the thing, and this is why I love Napoleon Hill said. He said most men will not achieve true success until after their 40s. Because it takes them time to be able to settle into harnessing that sex energy. the most dynamic energy. And the thing is like when we have things like low libidos because we get stressed, and we talked about this a little bit before in understanding this, we get stressed. We get our minds occupied. Also, there's more availability to porn. So there's a pressure like, yo, man, this dude is lasting for an hour. Then and people are failing to recognize that's entertainment. That's probably like 17 scenes that they spliced. I edit shit. I get how videos work. It's not all the same, bro.
Yeah.
But in their minds, I gotta perform. And then, like, listen, women are more aggressive than they've been. They're more aggressive, bro. Like, listen, I don't know how these young boys do it, man. They gotta leave it to us old cats. But I'll tell you what. So there's a pressure there, right? And I think that also comes to the erectile dysfunction. We started talking about that. I think that low libido, it's like even, okay, I have no low desire, but even when I get it up, I can't maintain it.
Yeah.
Like, yo, that sucks.
Yeah.
What the heck? But again, that's what's happening right now because there's like a pressure there. And also there's a circulation issue. So we talked about, so one of the other challenges we didn't talk about yet is the performance anxiety. And also there's shame around sexual trauma and function and expectations, bro.
Yeah.
What is expectation, bro?
Well, I think men put a lot of pressure on themselves, you know, and if you, in the worst thing, one of the biggest fears people have is public humiliation, right? They don't want to. So that's in the back of their mind. And if you're with somebody, that's the way I look at it is like, listen, you do the best you can. Your significant other doesn't like it. You work on it, of course. But if you're kind of like dating around and you're like your other partner doesn't like it, it's like, gives a shit. Like, you know, I don't know.
No, you do know. Listen, I
never like, of course, like I always pleased my wife and everything like that. You know, that's the thing. But I don't set myself up like we're going at it. Like I'm like, all right, 2 more hours of this and let's go. I'm not a machine, nor do I got 2 hours, man.
Yeah, for real. Like, I got things to do, man. Like,
I'm not in my 20s anymore, man. Like after I go, I need a few minutes.
Yes. Yeah.
Listen, well,
this is the thing that I think is so funky with this, right? Is because like cats put this performance anxiety on themselves. Like, I got to do this. But sometimes that shit is not even necessary, bro.
Yeah, it isn't. It's not supposed to put pressure on you, man. It's supposed to be one of those beautiful, best feelings in the world.
Bro, exactly. Yo, let me tell you something. I like senses, like to hear, see shit, right? So one of the things I recognize as I get older, right? And I think it's because I'm in a way preparing myself if at times it doesn't work like it used to, right?
Yeah.
So I found myself like being very into the tactile and the touching. And I started experiencing this when I was in my last relationship and where I went through this thing called dick discipline. It's like a 12-week program I created that took like, it was me and 7 other dudes. We went through it, right? And it was about really taking sex energy and harnessing it to create something. So that's when I wrote my book during that time. And I remember with my former girlfriend, I would start like, because I wasn't looking to spill, we called it during that session, right? So I was like really touching and feeling. And bruh, like she had a better time me doing that. And I was like, yo, this is kind of fun, man. Like, what? Mm-hmm. We didn't have to have sex. And I was like, yo, that was actually pretty good, man. I was like, damn. Now, when we did, that joke was like, woo! You know what I mean? Because it's another layer, right? And I'm saying this because I think part of the root that's happening with men's sexual health is this lack of the senses. And I think this is a common thing, especially when we talk about the creator. But like looking at things like anxiety, porn use, well, let's talk about some of the more common things: porn use and its effect on the brain and intimacy. Like, what are your thoughts on? Well, actually, let me check in with you. Like, which one of the root causes or contributors really resonates for you when it comes to men's sexual health, man?
Oh, their diet, 100%.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Yeah, diet. I mean, like, I've never met a person that has strong libido or a good mental sexual health that's eating a good diet. When I mean a good diet, I don't mean like, and I've seen, like people like, oh, I eat good, and like, your diet shit. Like when I mean good, like you're drinking, probably like, 4 or 5 of these things a day to clean, good quality water. I'm not drinking like, candy, like sodas. You're drinking, I've good coffee, but everything is organic. I would say, all right, everything's not organic. I do eat out every once in a while, but like I would say 95% of my foods are organic. And people don't realize this too.
Bro, that's good, man.
Yeah. And people don't, I did a consultation today with somebody who, with one of the trainers today at the gym, and it was for her husband. I won't say any names, but she was like, her husband has like a lot of like serious health issues, and he doesn't want to go to a doctor, and he doesn't want to take drugs. I was like, all right, I respect that. Like, what's going on with you? The doctor's just going to give you a pill, and he's going to tell you to move on, and you need to go see like a naturopath. What he does, and she's like, it's like $800 to see the person for an hour. I'm like, better than dying, and he's got the money. He's got the money. Yeah. And he goes, he doesn't want to take any. So I'm going through it. And I'm like, first thing I ask, like, what's the diet? Oh, he eats like Chinese food every night. He eats out. Then he has pizza left over. Then he has pizza. He eats basically pizza and Chinese food every day. Then he has like stops at Dunkin' Donuts, gets like a breakfast sandwich in the morning and a cup of coffee. And his sleep is terrible and all this stuff. But I was thinking about doing like ozone therapy to put more oxygen in his body. I'm like, that's not working. I was like, he's putting so much shitty food in his body. He's never going to be able to heal. Like it's like no sexuality in that relationship whatsoever. And it's just like, they just won't, he's not going to be able to heal. And I was like, in a way, I was like, your husband is taking drugs every time he goes to every time he goes to Chinese food, every time he gets pizza, every time he goes to Dunkin' Donuts. Because I was like, what's the definition of a drug? It affects the 3 B's. It affects the brain, it affects the body, and it affects the behavior. And every single one out there, and that's the definition of a drug. And every single one out there, they've had problems where they're stressed out and they stop at McDonald's and they eat ice cream and how do they feel? The brain calms down a little bit. The body, you store more fat, your behavior, you're just like, there's no difference when people think of drugs, they think of, prescription medication, they think of marijuana, they think of Coke or whatever like that. Those are drugs.
Bro, let them have it.
Processed food, it's a fucking drug. Like whether you realize it or not, it's a drug. And you're putting that stuff in your body to, again, the 3 B's, brain, body, behavior. So there's no difference. So long story short, after having a conversation with her, I'm like, I can't help you. If he doesn't want to change his diet, I can't help you. This conversation's over. And and it's like, I don't want to sound cliche, but his why has got to be bigger than his crisis. Yep. He knows he's going to die. What's his why? Well, we have a daughter. To me, that's a fucking huge why. I'm like, why isn't he changing for her? He wants to change, but he's too fucking lazy. He's too immature. I said, he's a childlike mentality. He knows he's going to die, but he doesn't want to change his eating behavior. I can't help you, man. Everyone's got to live their path. Everyone's got to do it. I mean, I can lead a horse to water. I can't force you to drink it.
Bro, everything you're saying, ding, 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 ding. Right. Yes, all of it. And the thing be that I'm starting to grasp. And listen, and also, fellas, please know this is in no way shaming. We're just telling you what's what. Okay. And I'm saying this because I'm saying this for myself because, like, listen, I've had shame around this, right? And also I recognize, like, I've been that cat, man. Like, and there's some times when I'm like super stressed, I recognize my behaviors, one of the B's, I recognize my behaviors can go directly into the doo-dooer, man. Mm-hmm. Okay. So the key thing is, and I appreciate what you're saying here, is that looking at fellas, most of the time, they want to be great performers, right? They want to be great in bed and like, yeah, I did this and blah, 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 and get this girl, what have you. But the thing is they're not doing the prep work to be that, bro. And part of the prep work is what you're putting in your body. Now, by all means, like, look, my diet is far from 100% clean. I'm probably running maybe 65, 35, 65, 35. So, but the thing is I'm recognizing, like, look, I got to make sure I got my juices. Like, I have sea moss, which has got a lot of minerals that also keeps you. But I know for me, like, there's certain things and tactics, like, I need to make sure I get, like, I'm back up on get my water game in. I started recognizing, like, the things that I was putting my body being, coming back to this important piece, were drugs. And it wasn't like Mary Jane or a Heineken. Yeah. It was the fast food, bro. It was the fast eating. It was the late night watching Columbo shit. That's all drugs, man. Yeah. These are all causes to having that erectile dysfunction. Okay, especially because people, listen, if people are telling you something, it's probably 2 to 4 times worse than what they tell you, bro.
Oh yeah. No one gives you the full story.
No one tells you the truth.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, that's not true. I'm just saying the majority of people will hold back.
Yeah.
Most of the truth, right? And I think it's important that we talked about that diet piece because, you know, the porn, the porn is like, look, it will impact your brain. If you keep looking at that and you think that's what it's supposed to look like, it's not going to be that way. And if you're going to watch porn and you're having anxiety issues, at least watch a POV versions, bro. Because, like, at least, like, realign because nothing looks like what's in the movies, bro. Like, you know, you take off the brassiere, the breasts go all over the place. It's not all perfect. It's not that. But, like, you know, some of the things, though, which I think are important to note, is especially when it comes to diet and consumption. I want to label diet as consumption. The diet, the alcohol, the sleep, the pace of consumption. If you're going fast, what's happening there, man? Like, think about if you're going fast. Think about the heart. What does a heart have to do to keep pace? And now if you're going fast, and if you're eating crap or you're failing to take care of yourself, you're clogging up the tunnels for the blood to go fast.
Yeah.
You stop up, then your ding is limp. Then you have a heart attack, stroke, your brain's funked up. Okay. These are all things. And not to mention, like, if you're depressed and you're anxious, that could lead to behavior.
Oh, definitely.
Bruh.
Yeah, when you're in that fight or flight, you don't think logical.
You don't think, bro. You're thinking for the next best thing. I know.
Yeah, you don't think logical. Most people are just, like, living in that fight or flight all day long.
Yes, sir. That's true. And then listen, and that has an impact because think again, aligning the sexual health with the creative health and bringing them together.
Yeah.
If I'm stressed and depressed, my creative energy is going to fail to flow.
Yeah.
It's going to fail to flow because I'm going to be so tight. Like, and dude, this is one of the things, like one of the processes I have when I'm working with men is the creator process. So all that is like, okay, look, man, I'm going to get you some markers and some pens. And here's a blank page. Paint something. And just watch them. And just, hey, what are you going through? They're like, Then when they're able to settle in, it starts with like a line. Then all of a sudden, hour later, what the fuck? Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, bro.
We did a couple things with exercises back in the day. Where it's like, you know, you have a lot of people, men or women, and you'd be like, all right, you know, write something, pretend like you're writing in a diary. In the first like 15 minutes, they'd be like stuck. They couldn't get past like 2 or 3 sentences. Then once everything kind of calmed down a little bit, you know, people like, oh, grab another piece of paper, and there was like, you know, just kind of flowed out of them. But it's like you wrote, man. If your cortisol is jacked up, like, you know, the whole tiger jumping out at you analogy, last thing you're thinking about is having sex. You know, so you need to, there's so many ways you got to manage your stress somehow, and it's not even like it's not the stress that kills you. It's how you perceive the stress. And I feel bad for people, man. Like, so it's like, you know, for example, like some people just, they look at the world as a scary place.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's sad. Like they don't trust anybody. I know they have, you know, like everything is dangerous, like right around the corner. Don't go there. Like it's dangerous. And like you're scared of the world. It's hard for you to be efficient. It's hard for you to be creative.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I like. I became more creative once I started traveling. So I'd purposely put myself in like situations that were like not totally uncomfortable, but like, all right, let me go to, you know, West Africa, you know, and if anybody knows anything about like West Africa, it's very hectic over there. It's crazy. And I was like, let me go there by myself. Did that. Let me go to Colombia by myself. Let me go to Vietnam by myself. And it just like, once you get there, you're like, yeah, it's hectic, but it's cool, man. Like I got this. And it look, you look at the world as like there's so many beautiful people. I've never, I travel all the time, man. I've been almost 50 countries, and I'm like, I've never had a really like negative experience with somebody. Sometimes maybe like, you know, government officials and like, you know, at the airports and, you know, people trying to, you know, scam you for money, but like never really an issue with somebody where I felt like everyone's always so helpful and there's so many beautiful people in the world. And once you, I mean, the whole point is what I'm getting at is like, if you have this mindset that like everyone's out to get you, you're it's gonna jack you up, man. It's gonna lower your libido, whether you realize it or not. You almost gotta have faith in like good things happening and have that positivity, have that good attitude. And if something bad, I don't even look at things are bad. Every bad thing that's ever happened to me in my life has always been a learning lesson, and I needed it for something even better to come along. So you gotta have that mindset. You just gotta be positive. You gotta be enthusiastic. You gotta be just keep going. That's it. You be enthusiastic about things. Find something in your life that you're enthusiastic about, and man, those creative juices will flow, man. It'll flow. And that's going to have a somatic relationship on the rest of your body. You know, somatic meaning brain, the body, right? So if you have good thoughts and you put yourself in a positive thing, your body just naturally heals, man.
Dude, and I'm glad you brought it here because, like, yo, let's just go right into it, man. And then you're talking about that mindset shift. That's one of the key solutions to taking care, like, supporting that low, like, addressing the low libido, the erectile dysfunction. A lot of this stuff is and it's a transition. It's like Brian and I have talked about that before about like the frequency of certain emotions, like being able to let go of shame and instead go into like a curiosity around what could be happening, because again, then you get to the root of what's really going on and how you fix yourself or how you take care of yourself, which leads to other natural remedies, which are like adaptogens. I know, Brian, you talked about, I know there's some vitamins. I mentioned sea moss, beet juice, the nitric oxide. Like, yeah, I mean, there's a lot. Like, yeah, big talk to him, man.
Yeah, one of the best supplements you can take, and we had, I think it was episode 14 we did on nitric oxide. Potassium nitrate. It's one of the best things you can put in your body for increasing nitric oxide in your body. So it's using the body to funnel. There's a pathway called your nitrate to NO2 pathway. And again, this is in episode 14. If you guys want to take a look at that, I don't want to bore you too much with all the science behind it. But another thing is like nitric oxide is used to expand and constrict your blood vessels. So you need nitric oxide. Little side note too, never use mouthwash. Mouthwash, like putting like an antibiotic in your mouth, it just blows everything up. Don't use mouthwash. There's so much research has been so many years on this stuff. You know, maybe you can do like maybe essential oils and try to find some things to kind of swish your mouth around, but don't use mouthwash. And a lot of these toothpastes out there, it just basically just like napalm. It kills all your bacteria, kills the nitric oxide. And another thing too, if you did get one of the vaccines, that cuts off your nitric oxide. That's why we're seeing a lot of pulmonary embolisms. We've seen a lot of heart issues. They're going through the roof, 400%, according to some statistics. And I think that, I'm not a doctor, but I'm going to say it has something to do with nitric oxide being blocked, you know. And there's a lot of doctors that are coming out right now that are saying it. So it's not just, I'm kind of regurgitating from some in the medical professions. So stop using mouthwash. you ever had the vaccine, put potassium nitrate in your body. That'll help it. That'll help with nitric oxide.
Yeah.
L-arginine is very good. Arginine.
You mentioned that before. Okay.
Yeah, that's really
Okay.
good for helping blood flow. They say that works. I forgot the percentage. It's back in the nitric oxide episode where it works significantly much better than taking Viagra, and without the side effects to Viagra. And what I mean by side effects, there's been a lot. I'm not talking one or two cases here and there. A lot of issues where when you're taking Viagra, all the blood pools into your penis and it doesn't circulate, it gets stuck there, and doctors have to cut it off. This is not. This is not like. It's not like 10 or 20 people that in the history of taking Viagra. This is hundreds, sometimes thousands of people. I've read things on these on multiple different studies, bias studies. So do what you want with that. I would rather take arginine than taking a chance to get my dick chopped off. So,
brother, it's so freaking true, man.
But those are the two supplements I have. I mean, Paul, you're the man when it comes to like sea moss and all those algaes. I'd be curious to hear what you have to say.
Listen, I'm a fan of that stuff, man. Because I remember, listen, my grandma back in the day, she put me on to sea moss, and like she made this thing called the tonic. So it was sea moss, coconut milk, dates, cinnamon, isinglass, and I think she also had burdock root in there as well. Burdock root is
I've heard of that. What's isinglass?
I forget what it is, man. It's
never heard of that.
It's another one. Am I saying it right? Hold up.
I have no idea. But even if it's spelled the way I'm thinking it's spelled, I never heard of it.
Yeah, that's it. Yep. Yeah, it's so freaking crazy. Because I remember she was like, "Yeah, I need you to go pick these things up for me. I'm gonna make something good for you." I was like, "What?" It's a gelatin. What's it used for? Yeah, damn, it was isinglass. It was isinglass. But yeah, so she had me do that, and it gave me so much energy. But it was great for circulation. That's the thing with sea moss. It's really good for circulation because of all the minerals. So we've grown up in that, and like in the Jamaican culture, man, that's one of the things that we pride ourselves on is making sure that you have good, and you make sure that you're vigorous. They call you, vigorous. Make your name vigorous. So that for me is one of the natural remedies, and also an energetic remedy, man. And I know, like, making sure you do like your liver cleanses and things like that, because that contributes to the circulation. Beet juice, I'm a big fan of beet juice with like ginger, cucumber, and apple, because the beets, man, is great for your blood, great for circulation. It's like enriching your blood. And by doing that, man, like, again, that's supporting your circulation, supporting your valves. Extremely important. I also think, too, is harnessing sex energy, bro. Like, people ask what that means. And like, to me, it's like really being disciplined with your ding, man. Discipline with your dick. Really, like, every time you have a sex thought doesn't mean you got to touch yourself, man. Doesn't mean you got to go watch porn. It may mean that you're ready to create something. Okay?
Would that be like your second chakra overloaded?
Yeah, it's overloaded. I think so. Like, one of the things I recognize with men and like what I see in the culture is that men are bombarded with sexual imagery, yet at the same time they're told they can't look. Like, how dare you look at me with this floss up my butt crack and my camel toe sticking out? What, man? Like, your breasts are half out. I see your areola popping.
Yeah.
So what am I like? Okay, you want me to look at the ceiling? Like, so I think that in itself, I think is important for men, like, especially with what society's doing right now, like women's empowerment and things like that, and men getting outed for like even looking at women or approaching women. I think it's important to like know how to harness your sexual energy. And that is the second chakra, because we get overloaded with porn and like even in the movies, like stuff that has no relevance to like a woman being scantily clad. They are. I'm like, what the but then also to top it off, like, you got these tight ass jeans that people wear nowadays, like showing off the moose knuckle, man. I'm like, I don't understand. But why do I bring that up with the energy piece? Because like a lot of times, like men fail to be in touch with that center, our sex center. Like we use it as a utility rather than as a wand to create something, right? Like
Yeah.
Like you said it, like men have the ability to create experiences.
So why do you think that is?
What, that we get conditioned that way, or what do you mean?
So when we have an overloaded second chakra, why do you think we exploit it more into sex instead of trying to create something that's going to benefit it in the long run? Look at it, you have something acute, or you have something that's going to be you can express over a longer period of time.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's expression. Like boys are never really taught what that energy is. What we're taught it is something to create babies. Like, wait, no, there's an energy there. Like that's one of the things that's sparking like all these changes in like that age range of like 11 to 14, like when the body's changing. We teach kids like, hey, this is how you have a baby, but we don't teach, especially boys, like what it means to be creative with this energy. Like boys are usually taught to do something like tactile, right? Rather than learning how to, and tactile is still creating, but like more like utilitarian. We're taught, hey, you got to work and provide. You got to work and do this. We're never really taught like, yo, your work could be something creative. Like, okay, like play this instrument or paint this picture. So as we go on in age, we're never taught to harness it. So it becomes like overactive and there's nowhere to go with it, that it burns itself out. And it ends up being expressed in more damaging ways than uplifting ways. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, it reminds me of remember like the old study where they took like two kids and one was kids like, all right, like you can have a cookie now, but if you eat it, you don't get another cookie. Or it was like something like, or you get a cookie now, but if you can wait 10 minutes, I'll give you another cookie so you can have two of them. And all the children, they would eat the cookie first. You know, they'd eat the first cookie. They didn't want to wait. And it was only the smart kids with the higher IQs that would wait for 10 minutes so they can have two cookies.
Yeah.
So I almost feel like it's like a child mindset where you can't like control yourself and you're not thinking of long term. You're just thinking of like short term gratification.
Brother, thank you for that. Yes, that's exactly it, man. That's exactly it. We are taught instant gratification. Like,
and that probably has a direct correlation with what we were talking about with porn. Because you just want that dopamine rush. Dopamine. We're so addicted to that dopamine. What's next? What's next? What's next? What's next? That we can't wait.
Bro, it's super dangerous, man, because when like okay, when I go watch porn, right? I gotta go in like, hey, what's the category I'm really looking for? I gotta like think about this first, because otherwise I'm paralyzed. I'm like, what's all these topics here?
Is it like midget with one leg on horse? Is that the one?
That was last week, actually. That was last week. That was something special. Man, it was like
my bad to all the midgets with one leg out there.
Yeah, listen.
We got an LLC now, so you can't come after us personally. You can only come after the LLC.
And listen, if you're cute though, but my emails, I'll send you my email. But so anyway, listen. So I got sidetracked there for a second. But like, going on porn, it's like it whenever I see like the stuff on porn now, I think back to like, damn, I remember when I was a kid and having to sneak a magazine or like a VHS or a DVD. Now it's like when you look at what kind of access people have to porn, there's so much there. And then that brings in the paradox of choice, because now there's a heightened anxiety for, what do I choose? Oh, well, that didn't work. I'm going to choose another one and another one and another one. Now I'm starting to get these dopamine hits, and it's becoming like, I need more. A la the drug.
Yeah.
The drug, bro. So I think it's insidious what's happening as far as men's sexual health, in my opinion, man, because there's a lot of things that are out there that are driving men to see sex as a certain way. And it's crushing them, right? Like even the fact, like, I mean, I want to bring in a couple other things before we wrap up. You mentioned hormonal panels. Get some panels done so you
Yeah.
know what's going on.
Heavy metal detox panels, heavy metal panels. I've seen a lot of people with like a high mercury, cadmium, a lot of heavy metals in them, man. That's like jacking up their thyroid, which will jack up your testosterone because you have cells in your testes. Drawing a blank on the cells on the I wrote it down here. Oh, it's going to drive me nuts. Oh, Leydig cells. You have Leydig cells that are in your testes, and they produce testosterone. And when your thyroid's all jacked up, your T3, T4, your luteinizing hormone, your follicle stimulating hormone, that slows down production of your testosterone. So heavy metal detox messes with your thyroid, messes with your testosterone, messes with your libido. So you want to check out your thyroid. And when you went to the doctor last time and you thought you had libido issues, how many of them looked at your thyroid? They don't. Why would you want doctor? Why would you look up here if the issue's down there? That's the whole problem with the medical system. It's compartmentalized.
Yeah.
So, definitely. So yeah. So blood panel, hormonal panel, heavy metal panel. A lot of things you can look at. When we had a guest on last week, look at your gut bacteria. Dude, that's huge. That's huge. I mean, we talked about that. Like 90% of your neurotransmitters are in your gut. We just talked about the somatic relationship of your brain to your body. If your feel good hormones and your drive and your motivation, your dopamine, your serotonin levels, your acetylcholine levels, they're all jacked up because you have a shit gut. And you don't have enough probiotics in your gut, or you have dysbiosis, an imbalance of friendly to unfriendly bacteria. It ain't gonna work, man. It ain't gonna work. Everything emanates from the core outwards.
Bruh. Speaking the truth right there, bruh. Listen, we hit them some goodies today, baby.
Yeah, I mean the last one I would get on to is exercise, weight training.
Movement.
Get in the gym, man. And if we talked about before, like you're having if one of your side effects is you're just not motivated, you're becoming irritable, you're not waking up between 5 and 7, you don't have an erection, and it's been a while. Like chances are your body's overly stimulated. You're living in the sympathetic. So you have sympathetic, your autonomic nervous system, your sympathetic, your parasympathetic. Sympathetic's like your fight or flight. Your parasympathetic is your rest and digest, or rest and recovery. So if you're waking up every morning and you have all those symptoms that we talk about, like you can't get it up, or it's just not hard, or you're having performance issues, chances are your body's like sympathetically loaded. So maybe going to the gym and like pumping weight isn't the best thing, but maybe taking something you're bringing energy into the body, like a yoga class, like Tai Chi, Qigong, breath work. There's so many things you can do out there to bring energy into the body, which will balance out the autonomic nervous system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take notes. Rewind that and take the notes, damn it. Take notes on that. Listen, I'm glad we talked about this, man.
Yeah, this is good.
I'm glad we talked about this. And we, listen, for people out there, run this back, take notes, share this with other men, because there's men going through this right now that aren't saying a word. And that's the scariest part, because if they're sharing, like, things can be done, like things can be opened up to what could really be happening. And listen, sex is something that's meant to be enjoyed. So if there's something stopping you, or there's a challenge, like there's a bigger red flag there. So pay attention. And something for you to think about as we wrap up. What were you taught about sex? What were you taught about sex, and what are you doing to take care of your sexual health? Also, we didn't talk about that. Listen, get your panels taken care of, man. Go get yourself checked out once a quarter. It's been an investment for me. Once a quarter, go get yourself checked out. Make sure you have no diseases. And if you have a disease, make sure you communicate that, so you're not spreading your stuff out of here with your dirty dick and shit. But anyway, listen, probably sensitive that, but whatever. Listen, take care of your stuff, man.
Don't you dare.
Yeah, I know. Listen, take care of your stuff, guys. Listen.
Yeah.
It's not a weapon, it's a wand, man. Take care of yourself. B, any last words, bruh?
No, man. No, I still got like dirty dick in my head. So like
anyway, yo, everybody, peace out. Until next time. Like, share, subscribe. Peace, everybody.
Take care.